When I'm thinking about friendships, I think about destiny connections. I don't surround myself with people, y'all, who I know can ruin my future. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another installment of the Book of Brianna, a podcast. I am your host, Dr. Brianna Whiteside, and I'm so excited to chat with you today about adult friendships. This episode was actually inspired by someone who contacted me for advice about navigating friendships, understanding or how to maintain them, and also asking about my experiences over the years, losing friends, gaining friends, reconnecting with friends, and all of the things. And so I want to just kind of talk to you about it because I think friendships are important. Friendships are extensions of our families. I do believe that God sends us friendships to help us and to help us in various stages of our lives. And, you know, I know that the friends that you may have started with are not necessarily the friends you will end up with. And I do know how difficult that is for some people. Trust me, I've lost my fair share of friends and it has hurt. Losing friends hurt because you care about them, because you've done life together, and because, you know, that person's no longer there. And, you know, that doesn't feel good, especially when it doesn't feel good, y'all, when God starts to send you through seasons of testing and trial. When God starts to send you through seasons of testing and trial, there are moments of isolation. And I know how that feels. It feels hard. I remember going through a season where it didn't feel like I had any friends. The friends that I did have, because, you know, once you get out of school, you make friends in school, right? And so I can say that I'm not friends with anybody from elementary school up into high school. Like, we're not close friends. We may still follow each other on social media, but I don't have any close friends from those times in my life. And this is no shade to anybody. This is just life has taken us in different directions. And what connected us, which was school at the time, no longer was the connecting thread, right? And so once I left Chicago after high school and went on to get my degrees, I started to meet other people along the way. And so naturally, life will separate people if you're not going in the same direction, or you don't do the work to maintain the connection. And that is what happened to the friendships before college for me. We didn't have anything in common anymore, you know? And there are some of them that are still clicked up, still friends, and that's fine. They, you know, all stayed in Chicago. They stayed connected. As a result, they still had those connections because they still lived in the same place. You know, they still, you know, frequented the same establishments, you know, things of that nature. I'm the one who left. So I'm the one who made a decision that broke the connection, even if I didn't know that it was going to break the connection. When I left, the fabric of that friendship, the closeness of that friendship, that day to day, you know, you just start to grow apart. And I can honestly say that I've never been one with a lot of friends. I've never been the cool kid. I've been the focused kid, the successful kid, but I've never been the cool kid. So I've never had a lot of friends. I've never been the it girl. And so having large groups of friends is foreign to me. But, you know, even I think when people have large groups of friends, there's also within that large group individuals who people may be closer to. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just telling you from my perspective and my story, how I've, you know, started to think about friendships and navigate friendships and things of that nature. And so when we get to college, this is when I started to actually meet people who would journey with me. I didn't necessarily know it, but I literally began to meet people who are still in my life today. This doesn't mean we talk every day. No, I don't talk to anyone every day. But if I needed something, if something went on, if I wanted to talk, these would be my friends. And I met them in college. But our relationships ebbed and flowed, right? Because the same fabric, the same thing that connected us in college, we went to the same school. Majority of us lived on campus. We either worked together, things of that nature. When you move away from that, when you go on to grad school or when somebody gets married, things like that, things change and relationship dynamics change. And I think that is that is where a lot of people struggle, when the dynamic shifts. Y'all, when we become adults, people are having children, people are going into their careers, people are starting families, getting married, all the things. And if someone else is not doing those same things, the relationship is going to ebb and flow. And that's what happened for me. Majority of my friends are married or have children, or their careers just took them somewhere else. And that was hard for me to reconcile, because I am unmarried and I don't have children. And to see their life, one, to see them get the things that I wanted, right? A little bit of jealousy there. But also to see that we're going in different directions right now, but we're still friends. But, you know, we're going in different directions. That was a test in our friendships at different levels. And I also think what I was doing tested them in other ways too, because I've had conversations with several of them, and you know, we've reflected on our journey over the years, and they're like, yeah, to see you do this, I felt this. And I'm like, to see you do this, I felt this. And I need people to know that adult friendships ebb and flow. They ebb and flow. There'll be moments or seasons where you're super close, and there'll be moments of seasons where you're not super close. And that doesn't make you a bad person or them a bad person. That just means that the dynamic is changing. I remember I had this friend one time, and we were cool. We went to school together, graduate school together. One of the many graduate schools I went to. But we went to graduate school together, and we were cool. We were nice, and you know, we both were unmarried when we became friends. She went on to get married. I was still unmarried. She went on to have a child. I didn't have a child. And so the dynamics of the friendship changed. But I don't think that this person had an understanding of it changing and being okay with the shift. As a result of the changes in her life, though they were great changes, you know, she just became very difficult to be around and difficult to talk to and all of these things. And, you know, at the time I was a little bit more passive than I am right now. And so I just started to kind of back up off of it a little bit. And I remember I was contemplating, like, yeah, this friendship is gonna either have to be tabled or we're not gonna be friends for a second. I remember those moments because they were hard. They were hard moments to know, yeah, this friendship is turning into something else, something that I just didn't want to be connected to because of her behavior. And so I started to kind of take a step back a little bit, and, you know, things of that nature. And I should have probably had the difficult conversation with her, but at the time she was pregnant and emotions high, and anything I said was amplified 1,000,000%. And so I didn't. I just started to back off, and I thought that we would be able to talk about it soon. But we never did. We never talked about it. She went ahead and did some things that I just didn't agree with, and the friendship could not recover. And as a result of the friendship not being able to recover, I lost a friend. But I also had to realize that I couldn't play the same role in her life now that her husband and her child was there. I take the third seat, totally fine. I don't necessarily think she understood that the friendship dynamic was changing. It wasn't just me and her anymore. It was her husband in the picture now. Now her child was coming into the picture. I don't think she realized that the dynamics had to shift until it was a little bit later, after she had done some things that ended the friendship for good. And I really was just like, dang, I lost a friend here, right? Not a friend that I wanted to lose, but a friend that life shifted the dynamics of our relationship. And, you know, that's just how it had to be between us, right? We went into different directions. Life was taking us in different ways. And I also remember coming into a really great friendship after a long season of testing with God. And I knew that me and this person, we were supposed to be friends for a long time. I knew this. Great person. Still today, I think she's a great person. But what I know now was that who I am as a person, as an achiever, as a kingdom citizen, if you're not solid in who you are, who I am generally starts to threaten people's foundation. Not that I go out or I put on anything like that. This has just been my experience, that because of the way that I show up and because of how God created me, if you're not secure within yourself, it will start to create certain problems within the friendship. And so I remember the friendship, you know, that we were having some tensions in our friendship, and I was like, what's going on? And basically she said that she didn't feel like she brought anything to the friendship table, right? Not nothing I said to her, not anything that I did to her, but because I was in a position to help her in ways that she wasn't necessarily able to help me, she felt devalued or insignificant. And I just had to tell her, what I need in friendships is not going to be the same thing you need in friendships. And so I don't care that you're not able to give me the same thing I'm able to give you, because I don't need that. I am grateful for our friendship. This is great, you know, things of that nature. But for some reason, she couldn't handle me just being me. And she kind of sabotaged the friendship. And that's the one that really hurt me. It was a few years ago. That's the one that really hurt me, because I'm like, I don't get it, right? I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand why this friendship ended. And it was nothing that I necessarily did. It was just who I was. And so I learned a valuable lesson there. I learned that you have to be friends with people who are okay with who they are. You know what I mean? When you are okay with who you are, then you can be fine with me being who I am. We're all individuals, right? We're all going to bring unique things to the table. We're all going to act differently and things of that nature. And we have to give each other space to do those things. We're not going to show up the same in relationships. And when I was talking to the person who inspired this chat, I was telling him, because he was, asking me about, the changes of his friendships with his friends. And I said, you have to give your friends space to become who they need to be. And even if it means that there's a season where you all are not as close or don't talk as much and things of that nature, if you value the person and the friendship, you have to give that person an opportunity to figure out whatever they need to figure out and be willing to welcome them back into the relationship. And that's difficult. That's a difficult thing. And you have to be incredibly mature with that thing. I'll tell you this. I have a really good friend. And she and I, we became friends in college, and she ended up having a child, and the relationship kind of just dissolved. And I used to say she was my most spiritual friend. We both started out on our spiritual journeys kind of at the same time, but the relationship dissolved. And years later, we got back into contact and we started conversing again, and she was able to tell me what was going on with her. She was able to tell me how she was perceiving the relationship, and I was shocked, because I'm like, no, she thought I was angry with her about things, and I'm like, girl, what? When did this happen? And it's so funny, because two people can look at the same situation and have a different experience. And, she would tell me that, she had certain internal struggles, as a result of her life changing. And I just wasn't aware of them. I was oblivious. I wasn't aware of them. I've been in school my entire life, so I was focused on school and work. Those are the things, my little petty relationship I was in. But those were the things. And I didn't even realize that she felt that way or needed me in that way. And that should be another lesson for you all, because people, we're not mind readers. And if there's a problem and you have a need from your friend, you need to go ahead and express the need, or go ahead and have the hard conversation. And, after she and I had the hard conversation, and the years later, I'm like, girl, I didn't even know that. I just thought the friendship was falling apart. That's it. And I had to be willing to welcome her back into my life. And I did. I welcomed her back into my life, because if I tell you that you're my friend, I really do mean that. When I say friend to people, when people know they're my friends, that means that I'm here. You can count on me. I'm going to show up for you. I'm going to have your back. I'm going to tell you the truth. Even if you don't want to hear the truth, I'm going to be there. I'm your person, right? If I call you friend. And so, you know, that relationship ebbed and flowed for years. 4 years, y'all. 4 years. And I remember having tons of hard conversations. And, you know, the Bible says, I think it says like, faithful are the wounds of a friend, or the afflictions of a friend. I remember I used to have to have hard talks with her. She would have hard chats with me, and it would test the friendship. Because don't nobody want to be told about themselves. Don't nobody want to hear about themselves. And I remember when I would have hard conversations with her about somebody in her life, she didn't want to hear. She like, all right, whatever. Or she would tell me I'm bossy, or, you know, I get mad quickly. I'm very short and things like that. I didn't want to hear, but I was like, okay, how is this? Because obviously I don't see it. And so I'm not going to say that I don't do that, but I don't see it. So tell me what this looks like. And I had to adjust, and I had to correct myself. And, you know, I know that when I'm thinking about friendships, I think about destiny connections. I don't surround myself with people, y'all, who I know can ruin my future. I don't. And some people think that's crazy. That's wild. I don't care what you say. It's easier to pull me off my chair than me to pull you up on yours. If I sense that you can be a danger to me, I'm not going to surround myself with you. It really doesn't matter how much history we have, because we don't have the future together. And when I have friends in my life these days, these are destiny connections. These are people I know that can go along on a journey. That's really what it is. I know that they're stable in who they are. We live different lives, different lifestyles, but when we come together, we're friends. And, you know, I don't have a lot of friends. I would say in my mind, look, I'm trying to count how many friends I have. Maybe 5 friends, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 friends. I have 5 friends in my life who I can tell the truth, who I can cry with, to, all those things. I have 5, and I'm grateful for my 5, because I know a lot of people don't have that, right? But I've also had to be flexible and meet my friends where they are, and help cater to the needs that they had, just like they had to help cater to the needs that I had. And, you know, this is how adult friendships have to be. If you believe that these people are supposed to be in your lives, this is how it has to be. And you need purpose assisters. You do. Unless God has stripped you of your old circle, which he does. There were seasons where I didn't have no friends. I want you to go ahead and assess your life and ask yourself, are these people friends for the future? Are they friends for the future, or are we still connected only because we went to school together or we grew up together? Now, if they are friends for the future and you happen to go to school together and grow up together, that's wonderful. You have long-term friends who know you, and that is amazing. But if you start to look at your friendships and say, these people may not be good for my future or even my present, you need to reassess. There's no way that you should be friends with people you don't trust, or even be around people you don't trust. There's no way that you should be faking the funk in 2023. It just doesn't make sense, right? And so I want to encourage you, if you are, you know, on this destiny journey, assess your friendships, assess your relationships. Are they destiny helpers? What are the benefits? What are the values? You know, why are they around? Why are you around in their lives? Ask them what value do you bring. I remember having a tough conversation with some of my friends, and I asked them, what is it like being my friend? And I want you to tell me the truth. And at the time, they didn't have all nice things to say. And I had to sit with that, and I had to listen to it, because I wanted to be better. And I had to do a lot of apologizing. And I had to do a lot of adjusting. And it didn't happen overnight, but I was willing to shift because I wanted to know what it was like being in a relationship with me. I know how I am, but I don't know how you may experience me. You know what I mean? And that matters to me, because if we're going to be in a relationship, I don't want to be the only one benefiting. I don't want you to not necessarily look at the phone and be like, oh, I ain't picking up the phone for her. I don't want that. So I had to ask him that hard question, and I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, Brownie, you have some changes to do. But if, you know, life is just taking you and your friends in different directions, and you know they're destiny friends, I want you to give your friends some grace. Give them grace. Give them room to work out whatever they need to work out. And pray for them. Pray for your friends. Pray for your connections. They influence you more than you know. And, you know, we all need friends. We're not supposed to do life alone. I know that song, there's a song that says, as long as I got King Jesus, I don't need nobody else. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You need a lot of people. You do. You need other people. And to say I don't need nobody else is wild to me. And it sets you up for failure more times than not. And so I wanted to just give you a brief chat about friendships, because they are important. These are people you're doing life with. These are people you are taking advice from, or, you know, listening to. These are people you are creating heart ties with, right? Soul ties are not just sexual relationships. Soul ties are in friendships. Soul ties are in families, and they're fine. These are people you're doing life with. And so if you find yourself in a tough situation with your friend right now, give it some room, give it some grace. Don't write that friend off. If the relationship can be salvage it. If the relationship just needs to be put on the shelf in this season, put it on the shelf. But always remain open to what God may want to do, because you don't know if God's going to want to bring that friendship back around. I didn't know that God was going to bring one of my friendships back around after all these years, and he did. And we're great. It's like nothing never happened. But it takes two mature people to do it, to sustain it, to work through it. Both parties have to see the value in the other person in order to make it to the future. Don't be so quick to write everyone off. Ask God to send you destiny helpers, destiny friendships, friends for the future, because they matter more than you know. So that's all I have for you. A short episode today. Give yourself some grace. Go ahead and evaluate your friendships. Ask your friends the hard question. How am I in this relationship? What is it like being my friend? What is it like being connected to me? And listen to what they say, and don't get offended by what they're saying, and don't get defensive. Listen, make the necessary adjustments, because you want to be a good friend to them, as you want them to be a good friend to you, right? But yeah, I hope this has encouraged you to think about your friendships and have the courage to continue to show up in them. I will talk to you soon. If this has encouraged you, of course, go ahead and like and share it, or leave me a comment. See you in the next episode of the Book of Brianna, a podcast. Bye.